Excited to be here with you today because we're going to talk about why are you disappointed when it comes to relationships. We're going to talk about the constant about this, okay? So it really depends on, are you actually living in reality, or are you basing on your opinion of the other person, um, on the fantasy that you've created? Hello, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, we're going to talk about relationships today, and specifically if you're constantly feeling um, like you're disappointed in a relationship. Hello, YouTuber 8137. Let me know in the chat. Oh my god, I feel like sneezing. Let me know in the chat if you're a person who is constantly disappointed or feeling some type of resentment. I have some kind of um I have a lot of, not a lot, but like some people that I know have this problem, and they're constantly disappointed, and no matter what the situation is, the constant is them. The constant is the fact that they continue to be in a relationship that is disappointing for them. Thank you so much for your compliments. Um, and I'm not telling you to actually stop being with that person, but are you willing to actually change the way that you're seeing things? That's my point of view. Thank you. So if then you realize, right, after some time, they weren't as consistent as you believed, they weren't as emotionally available as you imagined, or maybe you were putting far more effort than they were, and you kept on waiting for the relationship to become what you imagined it what could be. And you realize that you're disappointed because you've created an entire relationship in your brain. Like, none of what was happening was actually real. Like, you were in love with the person that they'll become. Like, you could see people's potential. And I'm not saying, like I said before, this is bad. You kind of have to ask yourself, are you actually seeing the person for who they are, like they constantly are, or are you making excuses for them? Are you filling in the gaps? And this is what remind us often, whenever we're put in this spot. Some people might say fear. When we fall in love, we tend to have this fear of being vulnerable, fear of being in love. And since our brain does not know how to handle that, and we need to fill in the gaps. So we fill the gaps with hopes, with chemistry and potential, instead of actually telling ourselves what's the truth, what is actually happening. And I thought I would make this video because I created this, like a reel, not a reel, a carousel on Instagram and on TikTok today, that it has to do with what I'm saying. And if you're ready to stop chasing potential and start choosing emotionally available relationships, join creating extraordinary relationship, because that course that I'm hosting is so amazing. And I thought I would do this video because I think that many people here that are watching feel somewhat seen on, like, the problems that I bring up, or people might be sharing, their point of view and stuff like that. And we all need to learn how to manage our emotions. Hello, Fredo. Thank you. I'm actually from Peru, from Florida. From Peru, but I live in the United States since I was very young. Hello, Anita. Hi, Max. I don't understand what that means. Hello, Francia. Hello, Anitka. Anyway, so everybody needs emotional regulation management or classes about how to actually notice them, right? This type of work starts with looking within yourself and looking to how can you become better, right? And to be able to do that, you have to know how to do it. And most people, what have we been brought up with? We've been brought up with either suppressing our emotions because it's not comfortable to just feel them, suppressing them, pushing them away, or ignoring them, or reacting to them. Actually, those two, reacting and suppressing. Let me know if that makes sense. Thank you. Yeah. I've been that person who suppresses emotions because I didn't know how to manage them. And I've also been the person to react to my emotions and take it out on the people that I love the most. And that's not healthy. Like, we don't want to be with someone who reacts and pushes people that surround you with love. Like, you should be able to nurture them and love them. But in order to do that, we kind of have to get knowledge for how to do that. What are you still confused about? I'm talking about regulating our emotions. I'm talking about no longer suppressing what you're feeling. I'm talking about no longer reacting to those emotions. What do I mean? Let's put an example. I mean, if you're also, one more thing, if you have already purchased Creating Extraordinary Relationships, that's another course, that's included, okay? So why do I say this? Because because our identity, the way that you are right now, has been working so far, okay? Until today, for example. But you say that you want more money, you want a better partner, you want a better job. I don't know. Tell me what are some of your desires. So the identity that we have and so far has worked, but is no longer going to work for the things that we desire. So for our future self. So we need to upgrade. And in order to upgrade, we have to look inwards. We have to look at what our thoughts are holding us back, look at which emotions are triggering us, and actually be able to feel them, which I will be teaching that tonight. And be willing to do the work and stay long enough for the desire to come true. Surrender says, don't forget to wash the utensils. What? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just did my hair. So if you say you want something and you get it, you're perfect. But if you're a human just like me, there is some type of block. Why? Because that's why we're in this world for, to be able to evolve, essentially. But if you feel like you're blocked, there is something holding you back, and that's basically what I'm teaching. That's, yeah, basically identity work, emotional regulation, and be super specific in what that is and how to make that happen. Oh, welcome, Turkey. What looks like a China flag? What are you talking about? Are you what are sorry, let me outreach. Are you sure about what? So, yeah. So, kind of like the hardest part isn't realizing that you need to, I mean, going back to the relationships part, when I was saying, like, why are you still disappointed in the relationship that you're in? Because you've created this persona in your mind, and you're not really seeing what is happening right now, but you're projecting out from an experience that you've lived. And you might tell me, what do you mean? But he still doesn't do this. Yes, but how you are feeling, you're still repeating it. And somehow people are still repeating the same emotions throughout their life. That's why when you look at certain people or certain friends or certain family members, you kind of feel this type of frequency, and it's a constant throughout their life. Have you ever noticed that? I'm not from Spain. I'm actually from Florida. Born in Peru, but lived in the United States since I was young. Outreach says, so you're saying that you are living in the past and have difficulty of letting go. I'm saying that you've created an identity. So we have to look inwards to see what type of identity you're carrying and what we want to keep, what works, what is good, what is healthy, what do you want to carry forward, instead of, and letting go of the things that no longer work, if that makes sense. Because we don't want to erase everything that's happened to us. Some things are good. Some people have had, great experiences. And everything that you see in this world is, it's vibrating at a certain frequency. Yeah. So, like, I mentioned desires, right? To, like, why would you want to start and learn about emotional regulation? Because you want to make your desires come true. Your desire is vibrating at a certain frequency, and you're vibrating at a certain frequency. Whenever you're feeling a certain doubt, you're lowering your vibration. You're no longer vibrating at the level of the desire. So, okay, Floating Man says, how can we vibrate at a different frequency? That's a great question. So, the simplest answer that I could summarize is to do identity reconstruction. It takes time and dedication, but as long as you want it, you could make it happen. So what does identity reconstruction mean? Is to look inwards, to look at the patterns you've had, the identity you're holding onto, the thoughts and the emotions you're having. And everything that is surrounding us is making us feel something. So to be able to vibrate higher, we have to constantly do the inner work. We have to constantly journal, first of all, learn how to manage your emotion and actually look at the story behind that. So this is everything that I basically teach. Hello, Nev. It's transformation, evolution, desires. Right now, I am hosting a course on creating extraordinary relationships for women. However, tonight I'm hosting emotional regulation class. Floating Man, you are a medical doctor and you don't have time for that. I hear you. I hear you. You could join by going onto the link underneath on the bio. Yeah, Floating Man, I hear you. That's interesting because there are different ways that you can see that. However, the way that has worked for me is to journal. That's the only way I've been able to get to know myself better. Like breath work, I see how you could feel better at that moment, but then at the same time, your subconscious mind still running a different story. My grandfather was a neurologist and is still a neurologist, and he knows so much. I wonder if he has a journal. I haven't asked him that. I should ask him that. Just 1 second. Let me just. Coach Ortega, I hear you. You go to the gym for that, but there's you're not really getting to know yourself. You're like just this is why I say this is for brave people, like people who actually want to move beyond and be better, become better, and yeah, it's work. Some people might see it and say it's not for me, you know. It's for brave people who are willing to do the work. So there, Nev says or asks, so isn't there any sessions for boys? Yeah, the emotional regulation class that I'm hosting tonight, you were able to see it on the link, and it's called Emotional Regulation Class, and you will receive the courses tomorrow. I love the gym. Me too. I go to the gym often. Awesome. If you, yeah, great. You can see the price underneath on the link. I don't want to say the price because right now it's running really low. I'm running a really low sale. Yeah, in both things. So, and it's going to go higher, the price. How do I? Oh no. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to. Okay. I think that's it. Floating man, that's reasonable for someone with of your expertise. Should make the most of it. How long are the lessons? Right now, the emotional regulation, I'm hosting a class later on, but you're just gonna receive a video with the lesson and the inner work that you need to do. Coach Ortega says, so I coach at a very high level. I work for NSP and I coach at a local high school. That is so cool. So mentally I'm good. Is there more mental training? I think that's for you, like for you to decide. Because you can practice everything that you coach at, but then also you have to take into consideration like what type of life you want to live in. You know, not everything in life is work, you know? But as far as mental training, I think for me it has been journaling and getting to know what's going on beneath the surface, not only for other people but also for myself, has been very revealing. And I think for you, if you know this type of work, I think if you try it on you and practice it, I think that's the better and the best and like walking embodiment of like anybody could ever do. Hello, Monica. Welcome in. I'm so happy to see you back here. Thank you so much, Coach Ortega. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, we don't meet in person. What I sell is exclusively online. Eventually, I will do events, which is something that I'm looking forward very soon. Really? Where are you located, Coach Ortega? Is your name Frank? Um, So, as I was saying, like the more connected you are to yourself, to your values, um, and your emotional patterns, the easier it becomes to see people for who they actually are and who they consistently show themselves to be. I think this goes out to like all the women out there that are disappointed in relationships and are looking for something that is more meaningful, that yeah, that I also want to remind you that when you change, your surroundings change. You either upgrade your partner or they choose to change themselves because they see they're inspired by you, or you get to decide whether or not that person is no longer good for you. And and yeah, so I want to welcome anybody who's, tired of feeling resentment, um, disappointment, unhappiness, being unfulfilled in relationships, unable to communicate their needs, unable to get their message across. Join Extraordinary Relationships because the course is amazing. So yeah, good morning, welcome in. What else did I needed to say? This is a course is where we actually do the deeper work, where we focus on the beliefs that have been quietly shaping the person that you are. Yes, I have a course. And I also have one-on-ones. um so yeah. um I'm actually engaged, thank you. I just want to remind you as well that even though, I'm here and teaching about relationships, I've been doing this type of inner work for such a long time, for 6 years in September. And just like last year, I was proposed to one of the most amazing men. And I want to remind you that you're able to attract your divine union, your soul aligned relationship. And the reason why I teach this is because it hasn't been only amazing for my relationship, but also to have a better way of communicating with my father and my brother, and being able to, be calm and forgiving and being kind, forgetting that I'm not a victim of my life. You constantly have to remind yourself that you are wherever you're at in your life, because there's a deeper reason that you may not see right now. um, Thank you, Coach Ortega. Yeah. Oh no, I meant, oh well, yeah, actually, I started my inner work um when I was 25, and I'm 30. So I don't know, time is perfect, you know? I just don't read. I read past the comments that are not meant to be read. So anyway, girls, women, guys that are, you know, wanting to level up, maybe want to regulate their emotions, to no longer react, and level up and live in alignment, sign up for the class that I'll be hosting, okay? I don't, I think I am this calm. I wasn't before. I would react. I would get hurt. I would really get triggered whenever someone said anything about my appearance, but not anymore. So hi, Bob. I constantly say this, and whatever you see is simply a reflection of you. And you know, I really hope that you find enlightenment within yourself. Um, Guys, thank you for your compliments. Everybody's welcome. Like, if somebody wants to be here, you guys don't need to be fighting for nothing. Okay? Yeah. So, plus, I like to listen to coaches too. It's fine. Everybody's welcome. You know, if somebody has something bad to say, or something, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I hope they see enlightenment, or like the way that I answer, they cannot really continue on whatever anger they're portraying out. So it doesn't really matter what they're saying. So if there are any more questions about creating extraordinary relationships, or you know, managing your emotions, I know it sounds like such a dull subject, but that's how you raise your frequency. That's how you move through what's uncomfortable. That's how you kind of get out of your stuckness. Hello, Eduardo. Thank you for your compliments. Oh, welcome in, Morocco. I'm actually from Peru, but I live in the United States. I shouldn't even say, I mean, whatever. Live in the United States for like more than half of my life. Hello, Brooklyn. What's the question, Miles? Yeah, Peru is in South America. No, I was born in December and I am a Capricorn. What do you call this when you're in love with someone to the point that you can't be without that person? Is it like obsession? Miles, is it obsession? And at the same time, when you're with that person, you can't be with. Let me read that again. Miles, are you asking about obsession? Okay, so then why can't you be with the other person? Is the other person taken? Or maybe admiration? It depends on what you mean. Like, you're in love with someone, but like, that's, what do you call you're in love with? Like, what does that mean? For example, for me, whenever I'm with, if I'm in love, right? But that took time to build that love, to nurture it, to be able to be reciprocal. How can you be in love with someone that you can't be with? So it would be really one-sided. Make sense? What do you mean when you say, like, what actions you're feeling? Are you feeling desire towards her? Oh, that's cool. I'm engaged. I'm not yet married. But why is it that we always fall for someone that we can't have? Oh, okay. It's that I don't believe in that statement. You know, that's why I always say there is a limiting belief there to be wired. I truly believe that you and anybody could get whoever they want. Whether, hold on, let me rephrase this. But there has to be certain factors into consideration, you know? Are you going to get involved? Like, what do you mean by you can't have? Like, is it because you see her as unattainable, or is it because she's taken? Because if she's taken, I see the person as more of like, oh, I shouldn't pursue that because I have some type of respect towards their own commitment. Why? Because I wouldn't want that to be, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. Whereas if there is just admiration towards her, or maybe she's just famous, or maybe you just have an image of your self-worth, your image of your self-worth is low. So instead of you thinking that she's unattainable, like, first of all, you have to put yourself in the situations where she might be, where you might get the chance to talk to her. So, like, do you see there's so many things to put into perspective? Why are you saying that? Hi, Kevin. Why are you saying that? I don't understand. Floating Man says too many people think that there is only one person for them, when in fact many people can be the one. I like your statement, like your message. Meanwhile, I believed this before I met my fiance. I think the bond that we have is very unique. So when you say the one, I really think that there's like, the bond that we have is completely different from anything or anyone I've ever met, if that makes sense. Like, not anybody could be your one. Like, that's why I often say in the course that I'm teaching, inside, the women there know that they have to be willing to put in the work, to voice out their needs. And it goes a long way when both partners are putting in the work and showing effort and wanting to be in a relationship and constantly choosing each other. Hi, Kevin. I'm sorry you've been through this, but not all women are the same. Um, okay. Um, Floating Man says, so are you saying another man cannot break the bond between you and him? What if he's cheating and leaves you for a younger woman? Can you never replace him? You know, I was live here yesterday, and a person asked, first he shared that he had been unfaithful, and then he said that if I was ever in that situation, what would I do? And I shared with him that I had been betrayed, that I had been in that situation, not with my current fiance, but with my first boyfriend when I was only 18 years old. So, so I shared many points, many points that I would consider now, because when you're conscious and you do this type of work, when you start to look inwards, you kind of start realizing that that action is only in the surface. Like, that is the result of something that has been going on for a while. So there's this guy, I don't remember his name. He's saying that he feels desire for a woman that he cannot have. I think that's an urge men feel. However, if they're constantly putting themselves in that place. So, to answer your question, we have to put into so many things into consideration for my partner to get out of his way, and instead of voicing out whatever he needs, he was trying to fill a void that wasn't even filled at the end. It's an insecurity. Whenever you commit the action, it was like the inability to communicate your real needs. What, like, the reason why men cheat is not because, I mean, yeah, they can be tempted. However, there's often, it's because there's a deeper need. They're not being seen, they're not being heard, they're not feeling nurtured. They're not feeling like they're the man in the relationship. Does that make sense? So I don't think I would be put in that situation now in my relationship. I don't know why my lips look like that. I don't know if I would stay. I don't think I would let myself get into that point in my relationship, if that makes sense. However, I cannot control my partner, right? Can only do so much. I don't think I would stay in the relationship. Thank you, Jeff. Cobb says, want to hear a male's perspective? Yes, please share. Dark Myth Hunter says, what do you think of a man who gives her girlfriend money and everything she wants, but never touch or kiss or give her attention? My friend is going through this and she asked me to ask someone else's opinion. I think that's between her, like the girlfriend and the guy. And yeah. I mean, there are different needs for every person. Like I've met people who are asexual, who don't care for touch. So I think it really depends on what your girlfriend wants, what she wants, and what he needs. I think there are so many people in this world that you could get whatever it is that you need. Dark Myth says, so basically imagine a man works, you don't. He financially supports you and he always gives you what you want and need, but barely wants to kiss you or touch you. He's always on TikTok and ignores you all day. Just like I said before, I think it depends on the person in the relationship. If that works for them, yeah. I don't think it would work for me. But why does my opinion matter, between in a relationship, when a relationship is between two people? However, I do think that whenever we don't have a good, I don't want to say job or like hobby that we're really fulfilled with, I think she would feel very lonely. I think she would feel very sad. And even though he's providing and giving everything that she needs, I think she needs to find something in this life that she would find fulfilling. So she's happy with herself. Yeah. Or I wonder why she thinks she needs to settle for that. Frank says, I've never felt that. Every woman is attainable. It's all an illusion. Yeah. But the majority are not worth it. Sorry you feel that way. Floating Man says, a man can simply get bored of your looks despite how you treat him if he gets the chance. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, the relationships are a lot of work. You have to change it up, change the situation, change the experience, role play, pretend that, that you don't know each other. I think that's nice. That's fun. Hi, Cheyenne. Welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing. Frank says, yep, that's why men cheat. She's right on that. Kevin, I'm sorry you feel that way. Try Again says, what's your happiness if you're living there? There's a reason. What's that? Can you reframe the question? I don't understand what you're really asking. What's my happiness? I really want to help people with the knowledge that I've gained. So, like, all of these years studying relationships, psychology, energy. So I think that really makes me happy if you're asking for my happiness. Yeah, Floating Man says, you're only one woman. you cannot always be in the mood to please him and satisfy him. I get how you're saying that. However, I'm with someone that is creative, that is so driven, that loves his job. When you're with someone like that, I think the special moments are special. The intimacy was like not like a man, like I don't want to say the word, but yeah. Miles says, I have another question. What is love? It depends. Loving in relationships or loving yourself. Um, Loving your children. Loving your children is, I mean, I don't know. I think there's an answer, and it depends what type of person you are, whether you're conscious or unconscious. If you're unconscious, you kind of like don't know what real love is because it's very conditional. If you're conscious, we're human. Like, even though a person is calling themselves conscious, they're obviously going to have some type of resistance, some type of fears, some type of, all of the stuff that, just because I teach this doesn't mean that I'm in any way, perfect or anything like that. I do feel fears. I thought I would mention this. So, to answer your question, I think the definition of love it has to do with a lot of factors and what you believe you stand for. I have my own personal definition on what love is. I think every person should make time to write their own values down, to be able to see themselves better and to be able to attract that, divine union. So to answer your question, what is love for me is to honor the person that I'm with, respect them, like be able to walk this life with him. And yeah, I think that's all I have for now. That's all coming up right now for me. But I think I have to find my diary and look at what I personally wrote, but I cannot remember what I did. I mean, Frank, when I say relationships are not work, I mean, our work, it's only because you have to balance life, You kind of have to balance work, the job that you have, if you decide to have kids, if you have a family, like a secondary family, is that what you call it? Like, you have to pencil in all of these things, and then there is you and the person you choose to live your life with. Even though you choose to live with the other person, doesn't mean that you're having intentional moments to actually connect with one another. So you said the problem is trauma. It is the source of a lot of problems. I 1000% agree with you. That's why we kind of need to figure out what our traumas are, and to be able to, heal them or be better. What do you need help with, C. Pellegrin? I think a high floating man again, once again. Floating man says, how does a man being happy on his job or being career driven stop him from cheating? Usually, the more successful men are the ones that will have more temptations and will have the money to act on them. I think that has to do with values. I do not agree with that statement. My father and my grandfather are successful and they're not like that at all. So to answer your question, that has to do with values, with the way that you were brought up, with the example that you had as a father. Whatever you had as a father sets the tone for who you become. I mean, as a man. If you're a woman, whoever you have as a mom sets the tone of who you become as a woman. Your dad, and I don't know how to say your name, but you said they all think Gen Z is crazy. I feel I am crazy but conscious. Thank you for sharing. Sean says, super elite, fine, should I hear you? Thank you. Hey, Thakur. Hello. Hey, girl. All we need is love, yes. Equado says, sometimes you meet someone for the first time, yet your heart feels like it has known forever. Do you believe in soul contracts? I do. That's how I felt with my fiance. Like, there was this constant pull towards him. I was rotational dating, so I was meeting multiple people because I wanted to see which one was my best option. And when I got to meet him, there was like, I was always asking for guidance and I was always asking for the higher power to, like, if someone was not meant to be in my life, to like take them away from me. And we just kept on coming closer and closer. I'm speaking like Shakira? I don't think so. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. The OG Milan. Believe me, you might feel like she's the one for you. Like, they may be perfect to the very last bit, but they're not. I got cheated on by my girlfriend after a 6-year long run. She cheated on me with my brother. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I recommend you go to therapy because not all women are like that, okay? Hey from Jamaica. All we need is love, yes. Floating Man says coaches should project self-confidence, and that is not evident if they partake in cosmetic surgery. I think, I don't know. I disagree with you. It really depends. It depends because sometimes we are unconscious and we don't know what we're doing when we're young, and then you get this done and then you realize that your confidence doesn't come from external things. It comes from way deeper. Oh wow, I didn't know that you guys were writing what was going on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a long life. I've never been on a life this long, but I'm super tired and hungry, so I'm gonna go eat something. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. All right, if you're feeling called to learn how to manage your emotions, don't wait any longer and join the class. It will be hosted on it will be posted today after this, so nothing. I'll hope to see you in there, and if not, join the Creating Extraordinary Relationships. All right, thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one.